What is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic. Today's video, we're talking about the alpha and what I want to see in the next SMITE 2 alpha. First alpha, good bones, played well. There are some things we still have to see if it's actually going to be like a great game, but I mean, I'm positive with how the first one went that the second one is going to be going in a good direction. But I think people on both ends of the spectrum, Nika said it in his stream, I think people on both ends of the spectrum are being a little insane. This is not a phenomenal game. It is a good alpha. It is not a horrible game. It is a good alpha. That is all it is. There's been good alphas that have turned into horrible games and good alphas that have turned into really good games. Could go either way. But so far, it was a good alpha. There's three things that I would really like for them to go into that next alpha, and these are my three biggest things. At the end of my three, I'm also going to be looking at some comments on Twitter about things that other people want to see. But for now, this is just my three things that I want to see. The first one is, I want them to try Combat Blink instead of Beads as the default relic. There's only one relic. It's always Beads. At least that's what it was in the first test. I want them to try Blink in the second test. See how it feels. See how the game plays. Stuff like that. Let's just see. Blink is fun. Blink is a positive. It's aggressive. It's defensive. It's everything you want it to be. Beads is usually just defensive. I talked about this in Monday's video where there is very few positive to Beads. There's a lot of positives to Blink. Try Blink. Let's see how it goes. And then we can decide. The second one is I want more tier 3 items. Can be passives, can be actives, can be stat sticks. I just want more tier 3 options to choose from. I think that will make the store feel a little bit better because I think there are a few items that are really, really good. And then there's some items that are just meh. And then there's just this whole of items that we're missing. Some pen options, some high intelligence options, some high strength options, some missing defensive full damage options too. So I think that they just need to add a few more items. I liked the base store so far, but there are glaring issues. The last one, and this one's an obvious one, I just want to see improvement on gameplay and god kits. A lot of the changes that they made were positives. With the next 6 or so gods, they said they want to shoot for 20 in the second alpha. The next 6 or so gods, I hope that they keep improving on the god kits, touch up on the 14 that they added that just feel a little off, then improving just overall gameplay. Again, I've liked how this game has started. It's just simple tweaks in the right direction. Again, it was a good alpha. It wasn't great. It wasn't the best game I've ever played, but a few more changes maybe moves the game in the right direction and turns it into a great alpha or a great beta. Now I want to take a look at some of the comments on my Twitter just to see what kind of everyone else is saying. After the alpha and playing it for a weekend, what is one thing you'd like to see changed for SMITE 2's next alpha? Confirmation that Nox won't be ported, yada, 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 Vulcan Agni, yada, yada. Some of the range characters auto still don't feel quite right on her, especially it's as if there's no wind up to his throw. It could also be better. It could also be the sound of it as it comes out. Shop doesn't feel clean either. All the way the filters work in SMITE 1 is better on my IMO with the checkbox. I will agree with the autos. A lot of the ranged autos feel like they stopped like just a tiny bit short, or just like maybe it's the depth perception from UE5 that feels a little bit off. But I will agree, the ranged autos definitely didn't feel great. And it's like that 40 to 55 units or however many meters that is, that area felt the most awkward. The other thing is on her too felt weird. Pots need their own section so they don't fill up the build section. Fenrir's Druid, sometimes it's just, okay. Fenrir Thing's a bug. I actually disagree with pots. I actually think the pots are bad, and that's probably something I should have touched on earlier in either Monday's, Tuesday's video, something like that. Even today's video, I could have touched on it earlier. The pots are so overpowered. They are absolutely busted. 20 health bursted is insane. So good. It is so good. I actually think pots don't need their own section. I think it's good that they're taking up slots, because if they didn't, I think pots would just be insane late game. Like, imagine you're diving the enemy Zeus and he's just healing 20 health every second. So if you don't instantly burst him, one-shot him, he's just going to be full healing after 3 health pots. So yeah, I actually do not want health pots to have their own slot. Classes with subclasses, no. I don't agree at all. This is a thing that they wanted to stay away from in SMITE 2 that they did in SMITE 1. They don't want people to feel like, oh, this god has to be played here. The game is open. You can play the gods wherever you want for the most part. There's obviously going to be some gods that are going to be a little bit better at some points, a little bit worse at some points, but I think staying away from classes and subclasses is good. The store is a headache as a console player. There needs to be a way to streamline it. They didn't play a console. I'll just agree. No more interact button, lots more gods. Agreed with both points. Interact button, I'm still not a fan of. Lots more gods for sure. Having 1 ward per person is fine, but wards need to have a longer duration, show the range of their vision. I'm iffy on this one so far. There's a few comments about wards. I'm indifferent towards it right now. I think keep wards for another playtest as is, and then we'll see kind of how it feels, because I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it right now. I'm not huge on active items and how they're implemented. Having 6 buttons for actives is cumbersome to me, but I need more time. I disagree. I think active items are awesome. I'm a big fan of them. Again, my opinions. This is not me saying this is exactly how the game should be. This is me saying how I think the game would be good. I could be wrong. This is just how I feel. More starter relics. Beads being on everyone's kit is terrible. That's another way they could do it. Adding blink, beads, and maybe teleport or something like that. I don't know. Maybe not teleport. Blink, beads, and maybe like one more. That could be a decent way to go about it. But I still think beads would have to be jacked up in cooldown. Blink would also have to be pretty high too. Audio tuning. Yep. I agree. Audio tuning was not great. Definitely something to improve on. An area like SMITE 1 where you can learn VGS or terms VGS and items. It's an alpha. It'll probably be there eventually. It's just not there yet. More ward options. Upgrading your ward to either sentry as you can now, or a chalice that has 2 normal wards but doesn't reset in base. Small starter items that suit each role but do not upgrade or can be upgraded to normal items at level 20. That's interesting. I don't hate any of this. I think if they found a way to implement it that could be enjoyable, I'm kind of fine with that. If you want to buy, I assume this is a bug. Buying 1 health pot, mana pot, it fully disables auto build with no way to re-enable it. Yeah, just give a way to re-enable it. More camp stuff to do on the TP sides of the map. Maybe. I don't know if the outside lanes need more farm. I think there's so much farm on the map already, but maybe. The icons in the minimap for the buff timers. I don't even know what this means. I'll be honest. The icons, no idea. More explanation of console buttons. There is no berserk setting anymore, so I just custom change everything to play right. Could not get my moves down or recall with how it was set to vault, not my playstyle. Yeah, it's probably something that'll be just added later, but I mean, this is for what you want for the next one. Understandable. Totem instead of Warhorn. I like the Warhorn. I think Totem is broken. Warhorn is interesting, I think. Having slightly buffed minions after the wave of getting Warhorn, I think that's cool. You can play around that. They tried to fix what wasn't broken, so my one is fine. All I needed was a graphics update if that. And just go play SMITE 1, man. SMITE 1 was fine. Go play SMITE 1. They're trying to improve on stuff to make the game as good as possible. They're not just trying to make SMITE 1 on Unreal Engine 5. I don't like... This is one of my least favorite takes, period. Probably Anubis, I don't know if it was just me, but felt like with his passive, it was extremely hard to do any meaningful damage. I mean, there was a slight nerf to his damage, and I think intelligence items are also not great, so I can understand this. I can kind of see this. I feel like Cuckoo's passive wasn't working, maybe, since no matter how much into mana, I didn't feel like I gained more power. The dash is cool, but weirdly clunky and doesn't mesh with his 3 just yet. I thought the dash was actually really cool. I like that with Cuckoo. I will agree with the passive. It was either super underwhelming or it was just bug. One of the two. Because Cuckoo felt like he did no damage. It was horrendous. New character. I'm happy that they're spending more time. Oh, he's talking about Hecate. Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to see Hecate? I'll agree. I'll agree. Either a lower cooldown / stacks on the wards or an option to buy more wards with so much to contest on the map. The bushes adding fog of war feels too important to not have more vision options. Again, I'm iffy on the warding stuff. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I don't hate it. Maybe try it with more vision. But yeah, I'm not too confident either way with wards. So I'll say sure. We can try it with more wards. A lot of UI menu navigation improvement and ever so slightly sped up combat. I'll agree with that second part. Combat felt just a tiny bit slow and stiff. Let's change it up. Let's buff it up. Let's make it a little bit better. I think that is actually a good point that I should echo. But yeah, that's a few things that I think and that the community thinks that should be changed for the SMITE 2 next alpha. I hope you guys enjoyed this video going over it. Let me know what you guys want to see improved on SMITE 2, and don't say SMITE 1 on Unreal Engine 5 because you'll be mocked in the comments. You'll be mocked. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have voted for us today. I'll see you guys again next time.